Hello and a warm welcome to NBS Area Code. This week we are talking landscaping and gardening.
So the latest trend in gardening is people want low maintenance gardens that you don't have to keep on trimming all the time. So you want a garden that is growing naturally without too much attention because people are getting busy and everything. So choosing plants that are low maintenance is one of the things people are doing. But also people are adding a lot of color to their garden so that it's not just green like it's a golf course. So you add a lot of color in their garden spaces. That's something that is happening. And then people are also using a lot of vertical spaces to plant. So for example, if you have a dry tree stump, instead of cutting it down, you can repurpose it and have your orchids on it, have bromeliads growing on it. So it could have been an ugly tree trunk, but now you make it beautiful with colorful orchids and it becomes like a nice, beautiful thing. People are using a lot of outdoor spaces with greenery. So instead of having I'm trying to get the word for it. Having an outdoor space to sit and then you have a roof on it. People are putting trellis and then having plants growing to cover. So it's like the roof is made of plants, which is nice than having an iron sheet or whatever, whatever you can use for a roof. But use plants to either do the walls, climbing plants for the walls, and then creeping plants for the roof.
We see beautifully designed gardens and landscapes everywhere, from homes to public spaces, but what goes into creating and maintaining them? How can the right landscaping choices improve not just aesthetics, but also sustainability and property value? I'm joined by Lilian Katiso, a gardener and landscaper, to find out the answers.
Some of the sustainable gardening practices someone can do is depending again on where you are located. So have resilient plants. So there are some plants that are drought resistant, which means even the dry season, they can thrive without too much water. Another thing that you can do is to do water harvesting, rainwater harvesting, so that the plants that need a lot of water, you can harvest the rainwater and give it to the plants. But also the rainwater is better than the tap water, which means that's why you see the rainy season, the plants look lusher than in the dry season, even if they are being watered, because there's some nutrients that come from rain that you don't get in tap water. So doing rainwater harvesting is good. Another thing that people can do is doing companion planting. Instead of using pesticides and spray pesticides and whatever sides they are for chasing sickness, for chasing infections on plants, you do companion planting. An example is, let's say you have a vegetable garden, and so of course you'll use your vegetables for cooking. But then instead of spraying them with harmful pesticides, what you do is plant plants and can chase away some of those pesticides. For example, marigold is good at chasing away some of the pesticides. So you plant it in your vegetable garden, it will repel some of those things. Or using homemade pesticides from some things you have in the kitchen can help to repel some of the things. So just not using harmful pesticides is good. Another thing is, mulching. So that if you want to have a low maintenance garden to keep the weeds down, you can mulch them to keep the weeds down, but also mulching helps to reduce the water evaporation of water. So it means you're conserving some of the water. Then some people do drip irrigation, so that instead of just pouring water everywhere, when you do drip irrigation, the water actually goes straight to the roots so that you're saving some of the water that flows excessively outside the space.
How to choose the right plants, maintain a thriving garden, and make the most of your outdoor space.
Okay, so if you want to start a gardening project, first of all, you have to consider, why do you want to do the gardening project? Is it a place that you're doing at home, or is it a recreational facility? And who is going to use the place? So assume it's at home. If it's at home, you have to think, okay, do you have children? Do you have pets? Because some plants are poisonous to children, to pets, and are poisonous to human beings, which means then you have to be careful where you plant those plants and how to keep them. But also, where are you going to establish the garden? Are there already existing features in the place where you want to establish the garden? For example, if you want to establish a garden at your home and you have already existing trees, there's some plants that will not thrive under trees, which means then you have to consider the type of plants that will go to where the trees are. But if you have no trees and it's a bare place under sun, then you have to think which plants are sun-loving that will go there. So existing features that you have, the function of the space, the people that might utilize the space so that you're sensitive to the plants that they have, but also, even if there are not children who might not know which plants are edible or not, there are also people who are allergic to pollens. Okay, so if they have allergy, then it can be induced by the pollen from flowering plants. So you also have to be sensitive to that. Then there are some plants that have scents, very strong scents, and some people are very sensitive to the scents. So you have to consider all those different things. But also, do you want an ornamental garden just for the beauty of it? So it means then you want color, you want flowers, but some people want an edible garden. So it means you want to have herbs and spices, you want to have some fruit trees. So it depends on really why you want the garden, but also the space. Do you have enough space? Because if you don't have enough space, you may not have fruit trees. If you have a big space, you can have some fruit trees. If you have a small space and you want to enjoy gardening, there are people we have some clients who live in apartments and they don't have therefore a garden space. So what do? They do what you call vertical gardening. So they have a space, you use your walls to do vertical gardening. Some people use containers, pots, and different things. So you can start with what you have, the space that you have, but you have to know what you really want out of the garden. If you're a beginner, start with low maintenance plants, because when you take a plant and you take care of it and you see it growing and thriving, it encourages you to adopt. We call it adopt more plants. We call it being a plant parent. So you adopt more plants because this one has worked well. You keep on. I have a client who came when I was starting from home 10 years ago. I sold her peace lily. So she took care of it and she was happy with it. Now, from that time, now she's become a collector. So start with easy, low maintenance plants so that it encourages you to go on the journey, but also start with few. So when you can take care of the few, you can keep on expanding. But also another thing that you have to do is ask before you buy the plant. Ask, what are the maintenance needs of this plant? And at Maua and More, all the team members in the 3 outlets we have know how to take care of the plant. So they guide you. They tell you, okay, this plant needs watering once a week. This one needs fortnight watering. This one needs once a month. This one needs to be in the shade. This one needs to be in the sun. Sometimes a client will send you a picture of a plant. You say, my plant has died. Then you say, okay, so how are you taking care of it? They say, we're watering every day. Like, that plant can't be watered every day. It is like someone forcing you to drink water even when you don't need to. So some plants drown. We call them drowning for too much water. So understanding the maintenance requirements for the plants is key for beginners, and also where to place the plants. You might buy a very nice plant, but you place it on the wrong side of of the house or wherever you're putting it. So let's say you have a balcony that gets sun in the morning, and that's a good place for plants that don't love too much sun. But then if you put a plant that loves a lot of sun there, and then in the afternoon it is shade, they will not thrive, they will not give you beautiful flowers. So understanding where to place the plants as a beginner is very important. But if you go home and you see the plants are struggling, always call on us to advise you, but also try to change the positions of the plant. Sometimes you discover just changing the position of a plant makes the plant to be happy and to thrive. But start with low maintenance plants. As you grow confidence, you expand to other plants.